From Newsnets and CCTV, it's high school basketball coming to you tonight from Cadillac High School.
Welcome, Northern Michigan, to some high school basketball action here at Cadillac High School here on Newsnet Sports and CCTV. For the game between the Garber Dukes and the Cadillac Vikings, I'm Derek Tate alongside Dan Gussert, and we are going to go ahead and throw it over real quick before we get into the starting lineups over to the public address announcer for tonight's national anthem. But, Dan, we have the Cadillac Vikings looking to improve to 8-0 and undefeated on the season.
Hey, you can't start better than that. They've had a fantastic start to the season, leading the Big North Conference, and been pretty good outside of conference, too. We'll see if they can keep it rolling tonight.
As we're going to go ahead and throw it over right now to the public address announcer for tonight's national anthem.
When you do. Second, release. Release your burden every day. Where do I get that? Verse 6. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. I think back when we did not have even a window air conditioner for our little apartment at Dallas Seminary. And we were facing that summer without air conditioning. I said to Cynthia, tell you what, we were reading Hudson Taylor's Spiritual Secret, and he never shared needs publicly. We didn't tell our parents, because one of them for sure would have bought it for us. We didn't tell a friend. We didn't drop a hint at the church where we worshiped. We did not tell a soul. And out of the blue, while we're visiting her folks one particular day in Houston, about to drive back to the seminary in Dallas, I got a phone call. The man called his name. Hi, Chuck. This is Richard. Hi, Richard. How you doing? I'm great. You need an air conditioner? You think I said, no, Richard, really, we're just praying about needs that we have. I said, oh, yeah, man, absolutely. He said, I'll bring it over. He said, I'm sorry, it's a window air. I go, oh, it's okay. Yeah, it's a window air conditioner. The brand new Feathers window air conditioner.
Beautiful rendition of the national anthem here at Cadillac High School as we are about to, moments away from tip-off, but here are the starting lineups for tonight's contest between the Garber Dukes and the Cadillac Vikings, and we're going to go ahead and get the visiting Garber Dukes 5-4 on the season. If you want to go ahead and
that's
run
number
down.
1, Adam Schimmel right there, a senior. Dylan McFarland wearing number 10. Riley Day, who is wearing number 24 tonight. Evan Burrows, who wears number 5. And our last starter wearing number 12, Jamison Van Ochten.
And 3 of those starters returning from last year's squad. Now onto the other side for the undefeated 7-0 Cadillac Vikings, head coach Ryan Benzenberg. And this starting lineup littered with seniors and leadership across the board. Number 5, this one a wing, a junior, 6'5", Evan Bohr. And number 33, a senior guard, and he can light it up from downtown. That's Levi Klotz. And Mr. Do-It-All and the heart and soul of the Cadillac Vikings, a 6-foot senior guard, number 34, Tip Baker. And then one of the more talented players on the entire Vikings roster, a sophomore wing, 6'7", number 21, Cole Genema. And finally, a senior wing standing 6'3", number 22, Logan Wild. As your starting lineups for tonight's contest between the Garber Dukes and the Cadillac Vikings. And we did mention earlier that this is a non-conference game, but still, Coach Benzenberg, even last week when we had the call for the Tuesday night contest, exactly 1 week ago, he said sometimes you get a little worried about the tempo and their focus coming out early on in these non-conference games.
Absolutely, and I think with this Cadillac group, they're so senior orientated and they've got so much experience. You're going to see them defend their backbone, if you will. We'll see if they shoot a little better here tonight. They struggled mightily in the first half last week. I'm sure that every one of them wants to get her going tonight.
As the opening tip-off and we're underway, Evan Burrows tips that one out of bounds. They called on Cole Genema, so it'll be Garber who starts off with the opening possession. This Cadillac Vikings defense has been stout this entire season, holding their last 3 opponents under the 40-point mark. And going to work early on, just off the mark, is Jamison Van Ochten. And the first rebound of the night for the sophomore, Cole Genema.
Oh, what a bonus that is when you have your biggest player on the floor able to get a rebound and just bring the ball down the floor with his head up the whole way, looking down the floor.
And despite the Cadillac offense not putting up a ton of points, but they haven't had to with how stout their defense has been so far this season.
It looks like Garber's come out in a little bit of a zone here, 2-3 zone. Vikings very patient, and Genema picks up the first foul. Looks like that'll be on number 5, which would be Evan Burrows.
First personal foul of the game on Evan Burrows tonight. Officials, Scott Jones, Mark Stewart, and Ron Thompson. Thankless job, but we thank him out here for this coverage of Michigan High School basketball. Klotz just off the mark for the three-pointer. He gets his own miss. And another possession for Cadillac.
Boy, the middle of this zone, there's a lot of openings out there right there. We'll see if Cadillac's able to exploit it.
And that pass a little too hot to handle. Vikings get back on defense as the Dukes will settle into their half-court set. And the Dukes, it's been either hit or miss defensively this entire season. In all 4 of their losses, they've allowed 60 or more points. Cadillac is yet to top 60 points yet in a game this season.
It's a very patient offensive team early on in this game for Essexville Garber. And a nice, tough basket right there off the glass by Ryan Day.
Riley Day gets them off and running, but Evan Bohr responds with a 3 of his own. Cadillac on top, 3-2.
Evan's been battling a little bit of an elbow injury. Coaching staff said, boy, about the last 3-4 practices, just have been a lot better. The elbow's feeling pretty good for him. Look good on that shot.
Both teams picking their spots. Early on, last week, we saw the Cadillac Viking defense, which has been absolutely swarming to start this entire season. And number 12 going up and under. Jamison Van Ochten gets his own miss. Can't convert on the second chance opportunity, and here come the Vikings. Evan Bohr is cut off, loses the handle. As Cole Genema's runner off the mark, Van Ochten snares the rebound. McFarland's jumper no good, and Genema with his second board of the opening quarter. They clearly want to work the offense through Genema. Bohr hits his second three-pointer of the opening quarter.
2 for 2, Evan Bohr from the three-point line gives the Vikings 6 quick points here.
You see how they're attacking that zone. Cadillac going into the middle of that heart of that defense for the Dukes. Genema finds an open Bohr. And that one a tough contested shot from Riley Day. Baker on the other end throws that one away.
Yeah, no look pass. He just missed Klotz. It was just not a great pass on Tip's play. He'd be the first one to tell you it's not what he was aiming for. Yeah, I did want to mention too, one of the things you notice, boys and girls, sorry, I'm used to my teaching voice here. I teach 6th grade. Everybody is, when the Cadillac the starters are announced, they always come over and do a little fist pump with a longtime coach in the area, somebody that's been battling cancer here, Coach Carl. It's nice to see them continue that tradition. It's always good to see him at the ball game.
Cadillac. It's Evan Bohr, who's had a very active 4 minutes to start this game. He is fouled in transition. Like you said, there's certain feeling of community with both of these programs, but in particular the Cadillac Vikings obviously have a special relationship with current and former coaches.
Absolutely. You know, you and I have been talking, Derek. You're coming from some pretty big schools down in the Florida area to northern Michigan where things are a little smaller. A lot of the athletes down there, I think if I remember right, you told me, are kind of one-sport athletes, where a lot of the kids up here are playing 2, maybe 3. And you see a lot of community involvement. The PA announcer tonight is the varsity girls coach here in Cadillac, Mike McLaurin, helping out with that.
Wild for 3. That one off the front iron. Third rebound from Cole Genema.
He's having a nice night on the glass right now.
This Cadillac Vikings team has been one that has grinded out victories with defense and crashing the glass. And look at Genema, another offensive rebound, and he gets his first points of the night.
Yeah, Jamison Van Ochten right there. Didn't box out, stood right underneath the basket, and Genema just climbed right over him, pulled it down.
4 rebounds, 3 offensive, and there's a steal by Tip Baker. Baker up and under, that one won't go, and Evan Bohr now has 8 points. Cadillac with their largest lead of the game thus far, and that's going to call for a timeout from the Garber Dukes head coach, Chris Watts.
Hey, how about this point? We mention our sponsors, everybody. Us again, Fox Motors here at Cadillac. We have Cadillac Tire and Pizza Plus. We appreciate all that they do to help us bring tonight's broadcast to you and all season long in the broadcast to you here on Newsnet and 26 Sports.
And speaking of being able to bring the broadcast to you, we have ourselves another fantastic crew tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Down in the truck, we got Hannah Crouch doing our directing, and then our camera operators tonight, Damian Brooks, McKenna Morrison, Elizabeth Ginrich, and Alden McCoy. And that whole crew, I believe, is heading over to the WEX tomorrow night, where the Cadillac varsity hockey team will play host to the Big Rapids Cardinals in an annual battle of 2 backdoor neighbors, and always an intense, fun hockey game to watch.
I've lived in Cadillac now for just over 6 months. I've yet to go to the WEX Center. They have to swing by and just catch a hockey game.
You'll have to do it. You'll enjoy it. High school hockey is it's just a lot of fun. Fun to watch.
So Garber started off. They scored first. But since Cadillac has gone on a 10-0 run, and really the Dukes have had no answer for Cole Genema on the glass, and we see a little bit of full court pressure from the Vikings. But the Dukes able to break the press and settle into their half-court set.
Get a couple of subs in for Cadillac right now. That's number 3 in the ball. That's Wyatt Vincent. And along with him, defending inside, is number 4, David Johns. Usually the first 2 kids we see up off the bench for the Vikings.
And a nice feed from Riley Day. Evan Burrows can't convert. Second chance opportunity. Braden Swartout gets the offensive board. And the big fella, big boy bucket. Count the bucket and the foul. And he'll go to the line and have one more.
How's a excellent bounce pass in there to give Mr. Swartout that chance to an old-fashioned 3-point play.
Standing 6'7", wearing number 40, Braden Swartout, a junior. And Genema, speaking of 6'7", folks, that's his 5th rebound of this opening quarter. Maybe on a double-double watch as he's been incredibly busy. Cadillac on top, 10-4. The defense collapses. You see the adjustment. They're starting to collapse on Genema when he gets the ball at the top of the key.
Absolutely. That point guard right there, number 2, which is Mullers. He did a nice job and really made it difficult for Evan to survey the floor.
And if you're head coach Benzenberg, you got to be happy picking your spots, being patient with each possession. Cadillac with a 6-point lead.
I think we see the first adjustment right here from Essexville, and that is collapsing on the middle, and they get a turnover for it right there.
Riley Day comes away with the steal.
Wondering, Derek, if that is an adjustment because Klotz is not on the floor?
Potentially, and Wyatt Vincent, who just checked in, that is going to be an offensive foul called for the charge. And Tip Baker is going to go to the bench.
Looks like Brady McLaurin in for him, number 14.
We take a look at now you mentioned every home game here for the Cadillac Vikings. The student section gets dressed up with a theme of some sorts for the opposing team.
What do you think, Jammy Day over there?
I mean, the Dukes, I suppose. As a left-handed layup is no good from Adam Schimmel. 6 boards in the opening quarter for Cole Genema. And an errant pass from Evan Bohr, who turns it over. And look at him go coast to coast. That is the senior guard, Dylan McFarland, who gets his first points of the game. Cadillac still on top, 10-6. Final 33 seconds of the opening quarter. What do you want to try to get on this final possession?
I don't know that at this point Cadillac's looking for a final possession. I would expect them to kind of call it out right now with 20 to go. But I think you're going to look into Genema and let him create.
13 seconds remaining. McLaurin drops it to David Johns, who just checked in. 7 seconds. Now 5. Johns got to get a shot up. And that one rattles in and out. Johns gets his own miss, and that one just off the front iron. And that'll bring the opening quarter to a close. A hotly contested game as the Garber Dukes trail the Cadillac Vikings 10-6 as we head to the second quarter here on Newsnet Sports and CCTV's coverage of Northern Michigan high school basketball.